This Steve Jones Show podcast is now loading. The Steve Jones Show podcast is presented by Sunbury Motor Company, Purdy Insurance, and Brewers Outlet. Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Brewers Outlet, Sunbury Motor Company, and Purdy Insurance. Now from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Great to have you with us on the show today. Half hour brought to you by Brewers Outlet. Reagan Street in Sunbury, the beverage supermarket. Imports, domestics, microbrews. The best selection of beer anywhere. 4th of July coming up. Stock up. It's going to be beautiful. Did you see the weather forecast?
I did.
Phenomenal.
Just be aware tonight.
Yeah, tonight? Yeah, well, we'll see. Yeah, tonight, we'll see.
I was going to an outdoor concert this evening, so I'm hoping I'm wrong.
Naturally. Isn't that amazing?
Uh-huh.
I have a concert. It's a one night all week that's the problem. Great, thank you. On behalf of everybody, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But. Back to beverages. Water, soft drinks, wine coolers, lots and lots of snacks. They roast their peanuts fresh and out every day. 6 great flavors of slushies. And ready-to-drink cocktails. High Noon, Jack Daniel's, Crown Royal. Pickle Bar led by the Barrels and the Dills, indeed second to none. Hey, it's 4th of July weekend. Kick back on the deck, have a nice beverage, enjoy fireworks, enjoy having friends around, family around. It's a big 3-day weekend. And Brewers Outlet is there to make sure your 3-day weekend's even better. Make sure you get, it's going to get warm, going to get hot, so that's why we talk about the water. Make sure you're stocked up on water. Great. All right. We talked about the Steelers. Trade. Jalen Ramsey. Jonnu Smith. They give up Minka Fitzpatrick, a couple of draft choices. We'll see what that means in 2027 when it happens. I wonder if they didn't give up 2026 draft picks because the draft is in Pittsburgh.
I mean, that'd be as good as reason as any.
Yeah, interesting. So, yeah. But, yeah, there you go. It's a trade at the end of June. Tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and kids of all ages, is July 1. And what does July 1 mean, Todd?
Schools can start paying players.
Welcome to college sports. That great Roy Firestone impersonation of Keith Jackson. College football. What does college football mean to me? Oh, about $5 million a year contractually. Jack Ham and I were talking about this earlier today. And when we were talking, I brought up the ACC meetings at Amelia Island. I know I've mentioned this on the show before, but sometimes you have to reiterate. certain things. And when Deloitte, because they'll be the ones administering the clearinghouse, went to the ACC, they did not want to talk to them about specific deals, which is the right thing to do. But they could do it in generalities. And they said 90% of the deals are, hi, I'm Todd Hummel for Sunbury Motors, right? I'm Todd Hummel for Purdy Insurance, and Todd's the star quarterback at Penn State and so forth. Okay? And they say 90% of those deals would be approved. And I believe that because that is really the definition of name, image, and likeness. Hi, I'm Todd Hummel for Purdy Insurance. Hi, I'm Todd Hummel for Brewers Outlet. Get everything there, and there's plenty of snacks because that's not my deal. Bad commercial.
It's just probably for Brewers it is.
Yeah. All right. Right. 90% of those would be approved. But the collective stuff, they say 70% of that would be rejected. Which, of course, leads to what?
Lawsuits.
Bingo. Exactly right.
Some of the numbers that have been thrown around for this season after all these people got their collective stuff in below July 4th are between, what was it, Texas A&M. Somebody said Texas Tech is paying almost $40 million for their football roster.
Wow. I believe BYU is paying, if the stories are correct, between $35 and $40 million for their basketball roster.
Yeah. I don't know how you. One, I don't know how you didn't see that part coming, and that is the collective view of the NCAA. And two, again, I don't know how they put this back into the bag now.
Well, they can't. I would hope that at some point, and I know they'll have to work on the budget because the federal fiscal year, I think, runs out September 30th. Is that right? I would hope that whenever they're done working on this big, beautiful bill, whatever the resolution happens to be, I'm not here to say one way or the other, that there would be some discussion among those in Congress about some sort of not rules and parameters coming from Congress, but giving them an antitrust exemption of some sort, limited or full, which would then allow them to negotiate a collective bargaining agreement. Because you're going to have that, and the players are going to have a say as to what goes and what doesn't go. Until we get that,
and I think the issue there, and I think we said this before. I mean, there's way more important things.
Oh, I know. I understand that. But that's why I said once they get done with this, it does open up the door to do some other things. How about that?
Yeah, but just some of those hearings, those people can't agree on anything. Even the hearings they had on college football devolved into.
I know that.
I
know. I mean, it gets into ideology. That's why, but believe it or not, we see the ideology come into place on big things. So ideology comes in with, what was it called? The Inflation Reduction Act? Is that what it was called?
Yes.
Boom. Okay, now the big, beautiful bill. I mean, things like that. It doesn't matter who's putting it out there. There's like party versus party. there is exponentially more common ground on other things that people I don't think realize up there. Where a Republican and a Democrat have come together. It's not a big bill, but it's something they think is important. They put it forward, and it gets done. There's more of that done than people realize, which I think is interesting. And on this, I think there would be more common ground on this. Now, I realize that there will be a faction that will be pro-player. There will be a faction that will be pro-athletic departments because it's management versus employee. But I think by giving some sort of limited antitrust exemption, or even a full one, but at least some limited antitrust exemption, it allows then the management and the players together to work it out among themselves. Now maybe I'm being foolish for thinking these things.
One can dream. Do.
And I am a dreamer, just like when Limu left the farm. He's a dreamer, Frank.
I think you facetiously made fun of me last week when I said this, but I think you're right, and that's where the compromise lies. But it seems like it's illegal to compromise these days.
I know. No, I agree with you. It's like I said. I think you're absolutely right about that. But I think there's a little more common ground on some legislation that never gets talked about. I mean, stuff that doesn't get talked about, and because it's not a big major bill. I mean, this bill's 900 and some odd pages. All right. The Inflation Reduction Act was like 900 plus pages. I mean, what was Obamacare? It was like 2,000 pages or some number like that, right? I mean, those are gigantic things. But there are other things that are a few pages long where it's like, okay, let's do this, let's do that, and they do come together on it, and I'm hoping this could be one of them. I mean, there are people on both sides of the aisle that care. Chris Murphy of Connecticut is a huge sports fan. Ted Cruz on the Republican side, the senator from Texas, huge sports fan. They've both talked about this. Well, if you got two people on opposite sides of the aisle talking about it, and both happen to be huge sports fans, maybe you can get something done that opens the door. And this is where Charlie Baker comes in, who is the current president of the NCAA. Running college sports doesn't seem to fit his job description, right? His resume. But what does fit his resume is the fact that he's the former governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And guess what? He can speak their language on Capitol Hill.
Were you 2 years into Charlie Murphy? No,
Talking about Baker?
Baker. I think I confused Eddie Murray's brother and Chris Murphy. I just, I would hope he's a little further down the line in getting these guys to compromise than it sounds like. How's that? Because if he's not, we're still a couple years from them compromising yet.
Oh, I know. And I think and I don't think you can do a blanket deal with all the sports. As I pointed out before, when Rob Manfred sits down to talk to Tony Clark, they're only talking about Major League Baseball. It's baseball players versus baseball management. College sports, Penn State has 31 of these sports. So do you have maybe the same rules for men's and women's basketball and for football? Because men's lacrosse and women's soccer and wrestling are different in scope and money than they are.
I just wonder if you could do it strictly by, men's basketball and football and women's basketball, and then the rest of the sports, the Olympic sports, because they have the Olympic sports have different needs than those other three.
No question. So that's what I find. That'll be the next step. You have to get to that step first. I feel like right now we're on Apollo 13. And remember the scene where the three astronauts, Lovell, Hayes, and Swigert are arguing about something. They were arguing about why they're in the spot they're in, as to why Jack stirred the tanks, which of course led to the explosion. And of course, as Jack Swigert points out, I was ordered to stir the tanks. So when they ordered to stir the tanks, he said, I'd stir them. He said, well, do you know what the gauge read? And Lovell steps in. He says, guys, there are 800 things that have to happen between now and getting us back to Earth. We're up to step number 8. Well, that's about where we are with this. I feel like right now, even though we should be at step 600, we're only at step 8. Just what you wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Just what you wanted to hear. Let's talk about step 8.
Did you see the Florida State contracts for this, by the way?
No.
When they start the revenue the stuff tomorrow, their contracts for the school to pay them have no injury guarantees.
Really?
Yeah. Basically, as soon as you get hurt, they can stop paying you.
Wow.
Yes, needless to say, a lot of Florida State's players have not signed said thing.
Wow.
Well, the contract notes in the Xavier Lucas thing are interesting as well, because those contracts say that are not paid for football.
Really? Okay. What are they being paid for?
So they don't have
personality.
But while Lucas's deal is not public, I have previously obtained several other schools' rev share contracts, including from one Big Ten school that uses the same template language as others. The consideration is not provided in exchange for the athlete's commitment to attend the institution or participate in the institution's program, it reads.
Okay.
And I wonder if that line's in there because they had them sign it before July 1.
Could be. They could very well be. Could be the timing of it.
Yeah, but I just thought that was kind of interesting, and I would bet that's not into the standard contract starting tomorrow.
Oh no,
I
don't think so. Very interesting, but that all starts tomorrow. And by the way, EA Sports is bringing back the college basketball video game, too. That's coming back.
Oh.
Now, when? I think it's 2028. I think it's 2028 it's going to come back. So
I wonder how the payments will work out for that. There's a heck of a lot more basketball players, as you well know.
Yeah. I mean, right now the payment's $1,500 per.
I mean, I'm sure they could probably swing that for basketball, too.
Yeah, I mean, right now it went from...
Was it 6? Yeah.
600 up to 1,500 this year for football players. Right, and the big part to them is they get a free copy of the game. They love that part. Yeah. Drew Aller, Nick Dawkins, and Key Wheatley represent Penn State at Big Ten Media Days next month. And next month, of course, is tomorrow. It'll be July 22, 23 out at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas.
Live shows, Steve?
You and me out there together, brother.
It is. Because, it's always beautiful and a nice, crisp 120 degrees in Vegas in July.
Absolutely. In fact, I can hear the suit going with us as a producer and in the background screaming, Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. All right.
Or a fan.
So there we are. But that starts tomorrow. And Yeah. By the way, our good friend McMurphy is joining on3.com.
Ah.
Okay. And you know how highly I think he does. I think Brett does great work. Great work. So
Texas State to the Pac-12. Brett McMurphy to On3.
Yep. I'm trying to think which one's actually the bigger one.
Yeah, the Pac-12 is allowed to be a football conference now, at least.
They have 8.
They have 8.
And that's one where I'm going to wonder down the road whether UNLV regrets not going.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Some WNBA news. Plenty of it. We'll talk about that starting off the next half hour here on News Radio 1070 WKOK.
Hi, this is Season. For over 100 years, the Purdy Insurance Agency has been protecting families and businesses of the greater Susquehanna Valley and beyond. With the experience of our trained and knowledgeable staff, you can rest assured that your needs will be evaluated and met by some of the industry's best representatives. No matter what your insurance needs are, call Purdy Insurance today at 570-286-5855. Visit our website at purdyinsurance.com or check us out on Facebook to see what we can do for you.
An in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Purdy Insurance, Brewers Outlet, and Sunbury Motor Company. Now from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Friends, Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury, Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 on the wharf and online at sunburymotors.com. For Kia, best in new inventory, great pre-owned inventory with the Sunbury Motors guarantee. And a terrific service department that takes care of everything. Quick lane, inspections, routine, difficult. All at Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury, Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummels Wharf and online at sunburymotors.com. The Steelers have said so far that they don't want to trade T.J. Watt. Watt, of course, did not attend the mandatory minicamp. He wants a new contract, which has a year to go. And there are teams now saying that they're readying offers if the Steelers are willing to listen. Steelers, by the way, have been adamant they want Watt to finish his career in Pittsburgh. But Watt is in the last year of a 4-year, $112 million contract.
Man, if that happened, I don't even know. I don't think that would go well with the fan base.
Oh, no. No.
No, and he's old enough, and what they want to pay for him, I don't think you get something, you don't get what he's worth in a trade.
Oh, no. You never get, look, I shouldn't say never. You rarely get, we've talked about this in baseball. You're going to tell me the Boston Red Sox got value for Rafael Devers? Come on. There's no way. Okay? I mean, they got players. I know Jordan Hicks is going to start pitching for them now out of the bullpen. And look, Jordan is a good player. You know, Jordan's been a good pitcher in the majors. When he was here with the Spikes, just as a personality, I really liked him a lot. But he's not Rafael Devers. Okay? How many times we talk about the Pirates, the deals they've made over the years? They never get return in reality for what they trade away. Let's get cheaper players. They'll never get return on this. Okay? Now, Jalen Ramsey's going to get a $1.5 million raise this season, so he's going to get $26.6 million. Okay? The Steelers are taking the bulk of Ramsey's contract this season, so they don't have to pay all of it. Okay? But they do have to pay $23.6 million because the Dolphins will pay $3 million. Jonnu Smith is going to get a one-year contract extension worth $12 million. Watt's deal averages 28. Myles Garrett, of course, got $40 million per year. Now, remember, when Watt signed his contract, it was groundbreaking. Myles Garrett now has the groundbreaking contract, at least at this hour, at $40 million per year. $123.5 million of that's guaranteed. The highest paid non-quarterback in the history of the NFL.
If I'm TJ Watt, I'm holding out till Dallas decides what they're doing with Micah.
That's right. Micah Parsons is the next one. He'll be the next trailblazer.
I kind of have the same feeling. TJ Watt is worth that to the Steelers, but I'm not sure TJ Watt at this stage is worth that to anybody else.
Well, that's a good question.
I mean, if you're getting 16 games or 18 games of classic J.J. Watt or T.J. Watt, then yes, but I'm not sure that's in there anymore.
No, I don't think so either.
Hey, if you can guarantee me 11 games of classic T.J. Watt, I might take it.
I mean, I'm just trying to get you through this week on Brewers Outlet gift cards.
Yeah, hey.
I would say that's not actually a bad deal. But, yeah, so that's where that is. WNBA, I mentioned that before the break. 3 expansion teams will be coming in. Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia. Cleveland will join the WNBA in 2028. Detroit will then follow in 2029. Philadelphia completes the expansion to 18 teams in 2030. Okay? Now, that's great because I think the expansion fee is something like $250 million per, and the league can use it. They could use that money. They've been able to put together. It's not okay. We all know that the NFL makes a boatload of money. The NBA is making money. I think the NHL they're making money. Major League Baseball is making money. Okay? And the addition of Caitlin Clark has meant a tremendous amount to the league. But they're not there unless they're getting the NBA subsidy. No offense. I mean, we have to talk facts here. This is not about, okay, no, we're trying not to sugarcoat things for people. I mean, do you want to know how much money is estimated the WNBA lost last year? Why don't you take a guess?
Mid 9 digits. Let's go 500 million.
No. It's way better than that. No.
I meant maybe not 550.
$50 million. They lost $50 million last year, according to reports. Well, no offense. that's not a business model that's working. And they don't pay their players a lot. What do you think? Caitlin Clark has a 5-year, $50 million contract? No. Not even close. They don't charge a lot. Okay? And they don't pay a lot. But they're still losing about $50 million a year. Now, this is this 2024, it's estimated they lost $50 million a year. There was a period of time they were losing like $2 to $4 million a year, but it's been going up. And the interesting part about this is when when Major League Baseball and ESPN split, which they'll do after this season, I was talking to my broadcasting class, and in the broadcasting class, I said, I think the prime beneficiary of this split will be the WNBA because they already have the contract with ESPN. I said, I think they're going to, in my opinion, air more games than ever. So I just thought I would ask for the heck of it, because you're trying to get a read about what 18 to 22-year-olds are thinking, which I've always thought was important. And I asked, how many of you watch the WNBA? And I expected, Todd, maybe a third of the students in the class would put their hands up. You want to know how many put their hands up? None. Not one of them. And I said, well, you watch it sometimes. No. They don't watch it at all. And if I had to pick any group that would be watching it, it would be them. And according to, I mean, again, this is very informal polling. I mean, it's just a class. But my goodness, that's not what they wanted to hear. Okay.
I mean, summer ratings aren't great to begin with.
Yes,
and to try and break through, the WNBA is it 30 years old yet? I think it is 30 years old at the end of this decade, right?
This is the 30th season.
This is the 30th season. Yep. I mean, if you didn't get into it then, with with as fractured as the landscape is now, I don't know how they, even with Caitlin Clark, their ratings are up, but not to the point where they need to, where they would need to be to start making money.
Right.
And if Caitlin Clark isn't going to get you there,
yeah. They have sister teams like the Liberty and the Brooklyn Nets and the Indiana Fever, the Pacers, the Lynx, and the Timberwolves. In other words, Penn State practice at the Timberwolves facility for the Big Ten tournament, and that's also the facility for the Minnesota Lynx. The Mercury and the Suns, the Washington Mystics and the Wizards, the Golden State Valkyries and the Warriors, and the Toronto Tempos start next year. They'll be associated with the Raptors. Now, it should be pointed out that the Tempo will not share the same arena with the Raptors, and the Mystics do not share the arena with the Wizards. The Chicago Sky are not affiliated with the Bulls, and they play in a separate arena, and they're independently owned. The Detroit Shock was the sister team of the Pistons until the team's owners sold and they went to Tulsa. Franchise then became the Dallas Wings. They are not affiliated with the Mavericks, and they also play in a separate arena. The Atlanta Dream used to play in State Farm Arena. Now they play in a separate arena. So, okay.
And Matt was wound up because Josh Harris is going to own the Philadelphia expansion team too.
I know. Oh, is that who the owner is?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right. So when it comes to the finances part, this is where the issue comes in. Okay? Can you sustain yourself? And it's the part that I don't understand why nobody wants to talk about this. Now, I realize it's hard getting the numbers, okay? I mean, we get all the NFL numbers because of Green Bay. Green Bay being, publicly owned. That's how we're able to get all the numbers. Okay? The NBA was spending more than $10 million per year to keep the league financially solvent in the early 2000s. Teams were losing $1.5 to $2 million a year. In total, the league projected losses through 2010 to be around $400 million. That's a big number. Donna Orender said that the league had its first ever cash flow positive team during the 2010 season. In 2011, 3 teams were profitable. In 2013, 6 were. Okay. However, in 2018, Adam Silver revealed that the WNBA had lost an average of more than $10 million per year, which would add up to $280 million in losses since their inception. Says here, by 2024, the WNBA has seen their revenue grow rapidly through a variety of avenues, such as raising capital, renegotiating their media rights deal, expansion fees, which is about $250 million a year, increased ticket sales, and establishing new strategic partnerships and sponsors. Still, 40% of the revenue generated by the WNBA goes to the teams and the players, with the remainder going to the NBA and outside investors. Overall, the league lost $50 million for the 2024 season.
Don't they have some collective bargaining coming up too?
Yes, that one cracked me up. That was one of those like tone deaf moments. We're gonna go, if we don't get a new deal, I think it was it Angel Reese? We don't go and get it, right? Like, why? What are you doing? That's the last thing you need. There will not be people outside going, "Oh no, I can't believe it. There's no game tonight." You're like, okay, they're not going to play.
Yeah, because I mean, they're going to want more money. I mean, that unrivaled league, that 3-on-3, that 3-on-3 league pays them better than the WNBA does.
Oh, of course it does.
Of course, they created that league, but
right. The current CBA, which took effect in 2020, increased the minimum and maximum salaries. The minimum salary in 2020 was $57,000 for players with less than 3 years of experience. $68,000 was the bottom otherwise. So if you're your 5th year of the league, you're getting the minimum, you get $68,000. For most players, the maximum was $185,000. You can now get to $215,000 as a max. Okay. You also get bonuses for the playoffs. If you're the WNBA champion, you get $11,356. If you're the MVP, you get $15,450. First team WNBA first teamer gets $10,300. All-Star game participant gets $2,575.
Does that even pay for travel these days?
No. I mean, it barely gets you in the arena. It says here there are many factors that play into the smaller wages. 2 primary contributors happen to be, I know you're shocked by this, Revenue and viewership.
Isn't that how it's supposed to work?
Yes, it does. Kelsey Plum, who's a fabulous player, said, we're not asking to get paid what the men get paid. We're just asking to get paid the same percentage of the revenue. So the NBA players get about 50%. Right now, WNBA players get about 20%. So I understand that part of it. That's a legitimate thing to ask for.
Oh, no doubt.
Right? That's legitimate. That's what they should be getting. So, and I know they were complaining about not having charter flights, and I completely understand that. I mean, the NBA used to have a rule way back that that you were required to take the first flight out the day after you played a road game. It was mandatory. You had to take the first flight out the next day. Right? Now they have charters. Okay?
That is an early morning on the last day of a West Coast trip.
I mean, but that's what the rule used to be. So now they complain about not having charters, and I get that. I'm with them. Right? And so now they're getting more charters.
Come on, you didn't want to get out of USC that Tuesday night and go over to LAX and stand in line and get on a regular flight to Harrisburg or maybe Baltimore and then bus back?
Hey, I had to do that after the Rose Bowl. I had to go through LAX. In fact, Jalen Reed and I went through it together because I had to go to Detroit. I had a game at Michigan right away. And then, just to make things great, when I got back from Michigan, because I had to go out on the 3rd, the game was the 4th, and came back. Well, we were supposed to park our cars at Medler Field, Lebrano Park to take the bus down to Harrisburg. That's where you need to park, so I parked there. I came back. I had a ticket. I'm looking around like, okay. First of all, there's nobody on campus. You got to be kidding me. Because I came back 24 hours later than everybody else? Like, you got to be nuts. Brutal. Brutal. Brutal.
You gonna go around at 7-on-7s with Mark Brennan and take pictures of parking enforcement?
No. I understand why he does it.
So do I.
All right. Wrap it up in a moment on News Radio 1070 WKOK.
Party time, game time, or just fun time. Doesn't matter what time it is because it's Brewers Outlet time. The beverage supermarket has the area's largest beer selection. Imports, microbrews, ciders, and domestics. Pick from over 100 ice-cold 12-packs and dozens of 24-ounce singles. Soda, snacks, hot sauces, fresh roasted peanuts. Make it one-stop party shopping, and don't forget the pickle bar. So whatever you're celebrating or just doing it up, Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street, Sunbury wants to see you and thank you for your years of patronage.